Welcome to the Go Diaper Free podcast. Hello. I've missed you guys. It's been an entire week. I know it's terrible. Now, I know a lot of you have struggled with complete resistance after a lot of success with EC. And I would say that 100% of those of you who are on our private Facebook group or our private off Facebook group, this is your situation. Something has just stopped working and you don't know what it is, and your baby hates it or cries every time they go to the potty. And this is not with a newborn. That would be last episode, last week, 209. But this week, we're talking about a baby who's been doing EC for some time and then all of a sudden it's not working. So today, we're going to talk about that. Please visit the show notes over at godiaperfree.com/210 for all the things I mention or link to, or just for a written transcript so you can wrap your head around this. Or if you want to leave a comment, ask a question, join us over there. We love having you. So I've got two questions from two different listeners today. The first one is Danny, and I will let Danny speak for herself. Here she goes.
Hey, Andrea, thank you so much for all of your content. Your books and your podcasts have been really helpful. I have been ECing my baby since she was 2 weeks old, and she's now 12 and a half months. She goes to the potty every single day. She uses it every day. We almost never miss a poop. Like, we're on point. My challenge is that she hates it. I mean, we've been doing it since day one. She doesn't know any different. And for the past couple months, I feel like she just tantrums. She still goes. We put her on it. She goes. If we distract her, if we're lucky enough to be able to distract her with a toy or something, she'll go on the toilet. But it is just a fight every time. I try to give her privacy, but she's a little too little. She'll just get off. She'll just try and get off. I just don't really know what to do to stop the tantrums, because it's really making my husband want to skip the potty opportunities. And it's a little bit making me, and I know, like, we have to persevere, we have to keep going, but these full-on tantrums where she's just contorting her body, she's making it impossible, are just so overwhelming. Help.
All right. She said help. All right. So how many of you, raise your hand if you're not driving, or even if you are, raise one hand. This is you completely. This definitely happened with me and Twyla, my fifth, and Cooper, my third. For some reason, they just didn't like pooping on the toilet, peeing on the toilet, whatever, but they had to. And I put them on there as if we had no other choice. And they would cry for a sec, and then they would raise heck for a sec, and then they would go. So I feel you, Danny, and I'm assuming you're from Australia, if I'm catching that accent right. And baby is just a year old. So I've got some good news for you and for everybody else listening. We've also got a question from Mona, and we'll get to that one in a second. But just for you first, Danny, I want to say, can we please just pause and celebrate that your child is still going willingly on the toilet? The tantrum might not be personal. So if you've ever read the 4 Agreements, don't take things personally, right? It's easier said than done, especially when your toddler is the one who's doing something that you're taking personally. But it could be anything that is causing this tantrum. If I could make just one guess as to what it could be, I would say that your child is ready for independence, and she's tantruming because she doesn't quite have the ability to take her pants on and off, to go completely independently without you, that she's reliant on you, yet she really wants to be independent, which is a huge, wonderful thing in Montessori. It's like, you're totally on par. You guys are on track, 12 and a half months old. This is their developmental task right now. They are ready for independence and they're going for it. But it's also kind of hard. It's kind of like, I want to do this myself, but I kind of don't have all the pieces yet, because I know when I need to go to the bathroom. I know I don't want to go on myself. I know I'd rather go on the toilet, which is why she's willingly doing it. But I also really want to do it all myself. And my body is just not there yet. Now, if we were in an intact indigenous culture, let's say a couple thousand years ago, for example, this child would be going out with the other kids, walking over to where everybody goes to the bathroom, probably not wearing much at all, and would go and then come back. And that is really where a lot of that struggle and tantrum probably comes from. And it's probably something that she can't put words to because she's probably not even talking yet. But it's like, how do you even describe to your parent that I am like wired from hundreds of thousands of years in this Homo sapiens form to do this? And by now, I would be independent. How do I explain it to you that I don't really want your help with this because this is mine? So we live in the modern world, and the Western cultures require us to use toilets and pants and things like that. And some of us have carpet. So we kind of have to bridge this sort of gap that just is like, why are you throwing tantrums, but you're going willingly? And yet you're acting like you hate it, but I know that this is what you need and want. How do we marry those disparate ideas, and kind of find some peace with it? So what I want you to do is just to know that as she gets bigger, giving her privacy will help. That's by turning your back. She can sit on the mini potty. You can be in the bathroom together, lock the door. You turn your back, you say, hey, just do your business. Also, the big toilet will help. And we can keep the mini potty in the vehicle or just keep it in the living room to use as a signal. Like she goes up to it. That means she probably needs to go. Then bring her to the toilet, the big toilet. So she just won't get up and walk off. When a mini potty becomes an issue, it's an issue. And we want to keep it, for later. So the big toilet with a toilet seat reducer that is comfortable, padded, has handles, maybe it has characters on it would help. The other thing I just want to say is that this is such a great sign. Okay, first of all, you're still catching everything. Second of all, your child just wants independence. So are there any things that you can teach your child during non-potty times that can help your child to be as independent as possible? So you know your child best, Danny, and everybody else listening, you know your child best. Think about that. What can I teach? Maybe it's ordering some of our Learn Bear undies from tinyundies.com, which are basically teaching self-dressing. Maybe it's getting that part nipped in the bud. Maybe it's giving them really loose pants. Maybe it's having them bottomless at home because they just do better that way. So the other thing that I just want to rule out is, are we having any pain with pooping? I do have a couple of podcasts on pooping and constipation. Let me just find you. So the first one is episode 89. Go diaperfree.com/89. And actually, that's just the one I would recommend you listen to in case you need to just soften the stools a little bit, because one hard stool can definitely cause some crying and resistance during pottying. And it is resolvable, but you just have to kind of, Twyla is almost 4 at the time of this recording. I still have to go in there and hold her sometimes and push on her lower back, kind of like you do during birth, to help her get a big poop out because she's afraid of it. Since she was 10 months old, she had a big one that was hard. And ever since then, she has done what you're describing because of that. So again, reason for the tantrum might be unknown to us. Maybe you have an idea of what your child might be going through, anybody listening. But here's the last point I want to make on your question, Danny, before we move to Mona's, is your husband's vibe is also impacting things. Please let your husband off of potty duty for a while. Just say, hey, I'll just catch everything for a couple weeks now. And you just need to chill because we're going to pretend like we have no other choice. And this is what we're doing because Andrea said so. You can send it my way. Andrea said so. But I really know that our vibes, our babies they still feel like they're part of you, even though she's only 1 year old. Everybody's emotions become the baby's emotions. You know that already. His vibe, even if it's super subtle, even if he covers it up, is like, no, I'm cool. I've got my poker face on. It's still impacting it. So let him off potty duty for a while and just be like, you got to trust. Okay. So that's what I've got for you, Danny. I hope that this helps. And I always recommend just trying one of the things I recommend first and seeing if that works. Kind of like the elimination diet. You want to just do one thing at a time and see. But this is going to be, if you haven't already stopped using daytime diapers, stop. And if you want to get my wrap-up course, I'll link to it in the show notes. But there's also, just a time that's now to put her into cotton pants during the daytime and to just trust, and whatever ways you can support that desire for independence will be very helpful. All right, let's listen to Mona's question next. And then This is episode 210. And episode 211, next time, we're going to have two other questions in a similar vein, but I'm just going to sort of separate them out so I don't overwhelm you, those of you listening. All right, let's listen to Mona's question next.
Hello, my name is Mona and I live in New Jersey, and my daughter is now almost 16 months. And here's my question. I started doing EC and read your wonderful book. Thank you for all you do, about a month ago. And we've been doing everything that the book says to do. And she just started walking now, and she basically doesn't want to do it in her little mini toilet. She just doesn't want to. She cries and she screams, and we started wearing big girl panties, like the training ones that you recommended. And she cries even when I put that on. And I'm wondering if I should give her a 2-week break and start again, or if I should just stop altogether and just do the toddler training for toilet training when she's 18 months instead, or what I should do. But my baby's not happy and I don't like it. She is not happy at all. She cries a lot. And when she has to go potty, she cries. And we did the potty, we did the sound, we did even the sign language with the thumb between the index and the other finger, shaking like a rattle, to show her what it means to that she does this when she goes potty. So I think I've done everything right, but I am not sure why she cries all the time. So I'm not sure what to do. Okay. Thank you so much. Hope you can help. Thanks. Bye.
All right, Mona, and everybody else, raise your hands if you're feeling the same way. It's definitely common. And the first thing I want to say for you is also this child is totally in that I'm independent stage and phase, just like Danny's child. I hear it, I see it, I see the writing on the wall. It is so clear to me from the outside looking in. So it's always easier for me to see something than for you guys to see it yourselves. So with a 15-month-old, I would have done the hybrid plan that comes with my book, which I'll link to my book, Go Diaper Free. If your child is a little bit, like you're saying, just started walking, etc. So if your child started walking at 9 months old and you got a 15-month-old and you haven't done any EC, I would definitely have you do my potty training book right away. Now, so she's just started walking at 15 months old, which means it's appropriate to do the hybrid plan in the Go Diaper Free book. So here's the game plan. I just want you to do this. Your intuition, and all of you, if you have 5 minutes of quiet time, haha, I know that's hard to get these days. But like maybe you can hide in the closet or in the bathroom or in part of your yard and just get 5 minutes to yourself. Or ask your husband or whomever to take your baby so you can have a minute. What do you feel like could be the answer? And you said it, Mona. Reset for 2 weeks and start again, or stop and do the other toddler toilet training when she's 18 months instead. You nailed it for yourself. But I just want to add in a little part of that hybrid plan that only comes with the Go Diaper Free EC book. It's like a mixture of potty training and EC. It's not full on potty training because it's just a couple of days of physically teaching them the movement to the potty. And it's a bit of a middle ground, if you will. Okay, so I do feel like there is too much focus on it. If we're repeating the sign and doing the ps or the at 15, 16 months old is not age appropriate. You didn't do anything wrong, but at this point we use words. That's part of, here's the thing. You are doing fine. This is totally fine. So don't take this personally, but when we revert back to an earlier stage of a baby's babyhood, we're actually infantilizing them. Maybe not on purpose, inadvertently, that's fine. But if we talk baby talk, for example, to a 2-year-old, they are probably going to be like, well, I guess I should act like a baby. And it could have negative impact. If instead we talk to a 2-year-old as if they're 4, then they're going to rise to the occasion and be more mature in some ways. This is kind of like anyway, this is just something that I've experienced and I've also seen with other parents. We want to not use these sounds unless we're pottying in the middle of the night, which is when we really don't want to talk with a 15, 16-month-old. And you didn't know that, but just stop doing that. We're going to use words, and we're not going to overtalk. We are going to be brief, and we are going to be steadfast. So in what our plan is, what I'm about to reveal to you is we're going to stay focused on it, but we're going to pretend like we're not focused on it at all. So it's kind of what I teach in my potty training book, is to just be ninja about it. So reel in that focus on it. She's crying because it feels like pressure. And I know you're not trying to pressure her, but it feels like it. We're going to do a nonverbal hybrid experience instead. If you don't find success with that, then, okay, so first, let me rewind. Let's do the reset for 2 weeks. This is where you don't take them at any point at all. You use a diaper as a diaper for 2 weeks. You give yourself a break because this is stressing you out. No focus on potty at all. If you know she totally has to go, or she willingly goes poop anyway, or she willingly does the morning pee, whatever you found so far, you can do that. But I don't want you to talk about it at all. Just do it. This is what the women, when I was in Africa in 2000 in Ghana, they did everything as non-verbally. I hardly ever heard a mom talk to her child. It was so physical and non-verbal. And I saw zero tantrums the whole month I was there. And I'm just saying, I'm no anthropologist, but it makes sense to me after having 5 children why that works. So 2-week reset. And then you are going to do the hybrid plan for my Go Diaper Free book. It is a couple of days of physically teaching them the movement to the potty and changing to words now instead of sounds. And then I would like you to stop using diapers and start just doing EC as if, you have always been doing it. Now, if she does the same thing with this and just doesn't work out, I want you to reset for 1 more week. Just try that 2-day pottying experience, the hybrid experience. 1 more week off. During that week, you're going to read my potty training book. By then, we'll probably be at like 16 and a half, 17 months. Do the potty training then. You're going to be as nonverbal as possible. In my potty training book, I totally put in the beginning the 10 ways of being. And one of them is be brief and nonverbal. Like, don't overtalk. When you talk too much about something, really they only need it once or twice. And then while they're doing it, you can do something nonverbal, like a sign, like the toilet shaking. Great that you're using sign language. Awesome. But just do it once. We don't want to over communicate. It shows fear, and they can smell that on our breath. What I want you to also start doing is using the big toilet instead. And once you do that potty training experience, you're never going back to diapers. At 15 months old, we really want to not do diapers. We also don't want to use training pants if they're not responding positively to it. So use tiny undies instead. And you can get those at tinyundies.com. And I would get, for this age, I'd probably get 2T or 3T. And yeah, just use the big toilet instead of the mini potty. Some kids just, if they haven't been using the mini potty from birth, then they're probably not going to like it. It's new and it's plastic, and you can put a cozy on it and see if that helps. But we also have like sit down and walk off kind of thing. Let's use the big toilet instead, and set the mini potty in the living space to use as a signaling thing. When your baby goes up to it, touches it, or starts to play with it, oh, that's a sign in your own mind. Don't say anything. Take her to the big toilet, set her on it, turn your back, and allow her to go. All right. And then we can also just use the mini potty in the car or the minivan right now. And that's what I have for you, Mona. So that's kind of the plan. When you're in that kind of middle zone of 15 to 18 months, if they're not very verbal or mobile yet, we want to do the EC hybrid plan. And if they're already verbal and mobile and have been for a while, we just want to do a potty training experience from 15 to 18 months and stick with it and stop using diapers. Either way, we're using a hybrid or a potty training experience. We're going to stop using diapers because at 15, 16 months old, that the longer you have your child in daytime diapers, the harder it will be to take them out of it. And they usually rise to the occasion pretty well. They're like, hey, duh, mom, you finally caught up with where I'm at, Okay, so that's all I have for you. Again, you guys go to the show notes at godiaperfree.com/210 at any time. Ask questions, comment, tell me what worked for you. Tell me what else we might have left out. And I would love to see you over there. You'll also see links to the things I've mentioned in today's show. And yeah, the website. And then we have like all the courses and programs and things. All the things are at godiaperfree.com/store, including a link over to tinyundies.com where you can get little potties and um, underwear and training pants, all the things that I didn't have and we didn't have as a community at Go Diaper Free over the last dozen or so years that I have brought to market to make e-seeing and potty training very young ones easier because it is normal. Just remember, I'll leave you with this. In 1957, 92% of American babies were completely potty trained by 18 months. It's not an average. Babies these days are no different from them. From then, what is different is in 1961, the disposable diaper was invented. And from there, do the math. They have doubled, almost tripled our potty training age in just 2 generations, and it is a travesty. So, your baby is capable, your baby is willing, your baby has been waiting for you. Please get one of my books and figure out a place to start because the longer you wait, the harder it is. And I'm not pressuring you at all. I'm just like, hey, you know better, do better, you got this, and I'll be here for you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Take care.